James had slipped and fell because his shoes were wet, slippery.
I've caught you in like 5 lies in about 2 minutes because you cannot remember what bull story or sentence you said 30 seconds ago.
We all know nothing is more important to a child than their mother's love. But for James, it was quite the opposite. His mother hated him so much that she ran over him to please her boyfriend. Yeah, it's true. I guess you're surprised, and so am I. So let's get into the story and find out why a mother would be so cruel.
Slipped and fell because his shoes were wet, slippery, and he had hit his head. So I went to the bathroom, I came out, he was gone.
On a February evening, Brittany and her boyfriend pulled over deep in the Ohio forest. Their mission was to abandon James, their 6-year-old son. However, when they wanted to drive away, James attempted to get back into the vehicle and was cruelly dragged under the wheels of the car and brutally murdered. After some days, they went to Middleton Police Department to file a missing child report. They claimed James was missing. A search party was immediately organized to search for the boy, but the police suspected something was not right. Their story was not adding up. Brittany and her boyfriend, James Hamilton, were immediately separated and put into different rooms for questioning by detectives who were going to compare their stories to get to the root of the crime.
Is you have to be 100% honest with me with everything.
The case raised a lot of red flags right from the beginning. The couple claimed that he had been missing for most of the night before they decided to report the case to the police. But you would think that if your 6-year-old is missing, you would probably be doing everything in your power to search for them and get them back as soon as possible. So the cops were certain they were hiding something, and were not being entirely truthful.
Other than that, he's a pretty good kid.
What's the address on Crawford there?
507 Crawford.
507. And how long have you guys lived there?
We just moved in there.
You just yesterday, a week ago? 2 weeks.
The beginning of the month.
The beginning of the month, okay. So beginning of February.
Yes.
Is the room that James sleeps in, there's a pillow in there and there's like some scratches on the floor. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know. It looks like maybe with a toy maybe or something like that.
The kids play upstairs in the room.
Have you ever noticed those scratches before? Do you know what I'm talking about when I say that? You do not?
No, it could have been there when we moved in.
Yeah, sure. I didn't know if you paid attention to that.
I didn't really look at the floors.
Okay. Do you have mattresses for the kids or anything like that?
We've been trying to get some.
Okay.
I've been calling around asking for furniture vouchers and everywhere.
From the initial assessment of their home, detectives discovered that none of their children had mattresses to sleep on. They were given only a pillow and a blanket. Can you just imagine that? Scratches were also seen on the floor of James' room, but because it was a rental home, the scratches could have been made by previous tenants. Before interrogating Brittany, the detective assigned to her decided to ask her and the other 2 children a series of questions. They revealed that while they did indeed eat pizza rolls for dinner and were treated properly, little James was kept in a corner and was given a slice of bread to eat.
Bottom of all this, and obviously you and Brittany are our number one sources of information that's going to help us right now. But we got to find him. I'm sure you want him found as bad as we do.
I'd like to go as soon as possible before I go back out looking for him.
Sure. Well, you hold tight right here, and if you need something, knock on the door. I'm going to go check and see what.
The investigator interrogating James Hamilton suspected right from the moment that he saw James that something was wrong. While James wasn't his biological child, it was still his girlfriend's child, and he showed no genuine concern or compassion. He even admitted to going back to bed after finding out that the child was missing. I mean, how can somebody be so evil?
Do you know?
That pushes me away.
Do you know if your boyfriend does? Does he use any type of dope at all? Not that you know of. Well, you would know more than anybody. That's what I'm asking. You're not going to get him in any trouble. I just need to know if you're being honest with me. That's what I'm trying to feel.
I mean, I've never seen him. I mean, we smoke cigarettes.
I'm not talking about that. I said drugs, illegal drugs. Of course, a lot of people smoke cigarettes. A lot of people smoke weed. A lot of people use heroin.
He smokes weed, but that's the only thing I know.
Okay, that's all.
I don't know if he does anything.
Brittany appeared to have some difficulty opening up about her boyfriend's drug problem, which can help the investigator establish whether she would be honest in the future and would be willing to talk about other issues with ease. They continue to go over the circumstances of the morning of James went missing. But throughout the interrogation, Brittany does not even shed a tear, and she begins to show some suspicious behavior.
James say that he first noticed James missing, the 6-year-old missing.
Well, I don't know what time he exactly got up, but he normally, every day normally, he gets up around 4, anywhere from 4 to 5, maybe sometimes.
When asked more questions about her boyfriend, she attempted to look up and avoid making eye contact with the detective, and that was a solid sign. Normally, there is a lot of debate about eye movements while recalling information. Some people argue that the direction in which someone looks can be an indicator of whether someone is lying or not, but it's never a sure thing. But as we all know, it's generally difficult for people to maintain eye contact while lying, whereas those who are truthful will often look directly into the detective's eyes to appear more sincere.
Has James ever been missing before?
He was missing once before.
How long ago was that?
I want to say it was the first of the month, but it could have been later than that, but I know it's sometime this month.
From that house?
Yes.
So he was missing once before from that house, and how long was he gone for?
I don't know when he was outside, but he found him at the you know how there's basement stairs? Well, he found him at the bottom of the basement stairs. I don't know what he was doing, but...
Is there only one way to get into your basement?
The fact that James had gone missing before raises another red flag for the detective. James may be simply an adventurous child wandering away from home at every opportunity, but it could also be due to abuse or neglect in the home, and this put the detective on high alert.
Did you hurt your baby?
Yeah.
Do you know?
I love my kids. I would never.
Okay. Do you know who hurt your baby?
No.
Do you know your baby's whereabouts right now?
The detective made a conscious effort to refer to James as her baby. This is a deliberate attempt to elicit an emotional response from Brittany because she was not showing any signs of compassion. This kind of word will have far more weight than just referring to him as a kid or a child, since it presents James as more vulnerable. The detective also tries to let her know that he is certain that something is amiss, and he would soon find out that he was right all along.
What was the needle that we found down at there was a needle found at the side door. You know anything about that? So do you use needles for any of your medication?
No, there's, the people next door do drugs.
Okay, so maybe it was from one of them, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and
Have you ever seen...
we always see a whole bunch of people just walking in through the...
Oh, yeah.
Cutting through, basically.
Yeah. Have you ever seen James, you had any needles? So, you said something about James does work, like doing electrical work for houses?
Yes.
Like rentals, I would assume?
Yes.
Alright.
Brittany is making an effort to sidestep questions about her boyfriend's drug habits, but if she agrees to a polygraph test, the truth might eventually come to light. The search party organized has been searching for James the entire time in the hopes of finding him, but only for them to discover later that his body is nowhere to be found. It was as if it disappeared from the surface of the earth.
I'm getting a story that is totally different than what you've told me, and I don't know why James is telling me that, but that's what he's telling me. He's wanting more detail than that. Okay, but I'm not going to share that with you. I need to know what happened last night with your boy, your 6-year-old. A 6-year-old just doesn't get up and walk out the door, okay? There's more to the story than what you're telling me. Okay, I've talked to James. My partner's talked to James extensively, and James is coming off of this slowly. I would suggest for you...
Brittany realizes that she has been outwitted by the detective, and she finds herself in a situation where she begins to doubt what James might have told the detective in the other room. So she has no choice but to come clean.
James told me to get rid of the kids.
Okay.
And so I took them for a drive to make them think I want to get rid of them, but
even though she is revealing the truth, Brittany is still trying to fool the detective by trying to convince him that getting rid of her kid isn't something she'd truly do, even though this is exactly what she's guilty of.
Okay.
We were just driving around. Well, the kids were going to the bathroom. I had pulled over to this, a little booth.
In Middletown?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little stall or something. A bathroom. I pulled over to the bathroom and let them all use the bathroom. While it was raining and stuff, I left the door unlocked in the van and told them, we'll all go in here, not all of us at once, but each one of us go in here one at a time, use the bathroom. So we went in the bathroom. Well, I couldn't go in there, but when I went to go in the bathroom, I told them, go ahead and just get in the van. Well, James had slipped and fell because his shoes were wet, slippery.
According to Brittany, James had slipped and hit his head, but this was a simple issue. If he had hit his head, why not just seek medical attention? But instead, you could see Brittany attempting to shift as much blame as possible away from herself. The truth is, Brittany had simply decided she wanted to get rid of her children for good, allegedly at the request of her boyfriend. Both she and James took her 3 children to Rush Run Wildlife Area in South Preble County with the plans of abandoning them. But they changed their minds and decided to leave only their youngest, James. As they tried to drive away from the park without him, he panicked and managed to hold on to the car. But he was pulled under the wheels, and unfortunately, the accident resulted in his death. Brittany and James later returned to search for him, and they saw his body on the road. The detective's biggest fear has just been confirmed. After driving home, both Brittany and James decided to hide the 6-year-old's body in a spare room of their house before dumping it off the bridge in the Ohio River. I mean, how can people be just so heartless?
The little boy was laying on the ground. I went to the bathroom and told him, you try real quick, because I couldn't hold myself. I told him, you try real quick to give him CPR. And so I went to the bathroom.
After countless lies and beating around the bush, Brittany has now informed the detective that James has passed on. The main objective of the detective was now to try and locate him after Brittany described the tragic moment when they dumped his body. The police searched every nook and cranny, but they were never able to find him, no matter how hard they tried. Brittany would later get off the hook by pleading not guilty by reason of insanity, claiming that she had a learning disorder. She claimed she didn't understand what was going on, but an evaluation by a psychologist showed that she was fit to stand trial, and will, of course, face the music of her crimes. Both Brittany and James were found guilty, but Brittany received the heaviest punishment. She was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of being released after 21 years. She was found guilty on 1 account of murder and 2 counts of child endangerment, which are felony crimes. James, on the other hand, was found guilty of kidnapping, child endangerment, and gross abuse of a corpse, and faces a maximum sentence of 19 years. As of today, James Hutchinson's remains have yet to be discovered and recovered. A photograph of James hangs inside the Preble County Sheriff's Office as a tribute to all the deputies and detectives fighting to bring justice to their town.